Street Talks. This is Eric Kim from the Eric Kim Street Photography blog. So I just want to give you some thoughts on the new Leica Cube. So the first really cool thing is, note that if you want to turn this into macro mode, you could just, this little dial here, you twist that here, and the macro mode comes on, which is awesome because you can focus a lot closer to wherever you're photographing. I find that the aperture ring in the front is nice and clicky, it feels super quality, and even the amount of push between the A and going to the aperture mode is pretty good. And if you want to shoot manual focus, essentially what you do is you have to push this little tab here. Once you push that tab here, then you could switch it from autofocus to zone focusing. So if you're shooting street photography, generally recommend shooting at f8 and pre-focusing it to about 1.2 meters. And if you look at the 8 number, that means if you're pre-focused about like 1.2 meters, everything from about 1.8 meters and all the way up to 1 meter is gonna be in focus. The cool thing is the new way to turn on the camera is you put it there. It feels nice and clicky. It feels pretty good. And I'm actually a really big fan of this new button here. So you could actually push this button in and down, and you could also click this left and right. And currently I have it set up so essentially, let's say I'm shooting. So the camera's on. Is the camera on? Perhaps the contrast is not good enough. Anyways, so in the top right corner, this button here is used to do exposure compensation. So let me get into the shade, and then I could figure out how to better show this to you. Okay, so we're in the shade. So let's see if we could see anything. Okay, that's better. So let's say I'm photographing something here. Then you could see if I'm clicking it in the top right corner, this could just be exposure compensation to make it brighter and darker. And yeah, sorry, just my phone's not that good. So anyways, to take you back to the sunlight. So things I really like about the design, this thumb rest here is actually surprisingly comfortable. It feels really good to put your thumb here. I don't actually think you need that thumbs up attachment that a lot of people put up here. It's a little bit overrated. Also, another thing that you'll never really use the electronic viewfinder. I find the LCD screen to be pretty good. The build quality is excellent. Certain subtle things which I love about the camera, which are totally like nerdy design things, where you click this here and then the battery pops out a bit. And then if you want it to fully come out, you push it and then the battery comes out, and then you could just stick it back in. So that's pretty satisfying. And another thing is for the SD card slot, you pull this up and you could take out the SD card and stick that back in there. And the mechanism to close it is you push it there and then you click it back there. So everything is really nice and clicky. The camera feels super solid. The neck strap that it comes with kind of sucks. I'd recommend picking up an Henri neck strap or wrist strap instead. Some critiques. So the camera is really good. Everything is nice and stiff, but I feel like this shutter dial here is still a little bit loose for my taste. Hopefully in the Leica Q3 they could make this a little bit tighter. But yeah, otherwise the design, it's really great. It's pretty well proportioned in terms of the design. I've just been walking around with it and shooting for a bit. Everything's super fast, well calibrated, and I'm just shooting JPEGs, just the natural default JPEGs. It's a super good camera, and maybe the question is it worth $5,000? I would actually say, all things considered, I would definitely say yeah, actually it is. It's really well built, and I think they got rid of a lot of the kinks in the original Leica Q1. And furthermore, if you're actually interested in having like a more compact full frame, it seems like now is probably the best time to buy the original Leica Q1 because the prices are probably a lot cheaper. I haven't really tested it much for street photography yet, but just everyday photography. One thing to know that on the internet, when I saw it, it looked like a pretty compact camera, but it's actually a pretty decent size. Like, to compare, it's a little bit bigger and beefier than like a Fuji X100 camera. And it's certainly not pocketable, so if you want a pocketable camera, either get a Ricoh GR2 or a Ricoh GR3. But just kind of know that, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a really good value. I would just recommend next time you're in town somewhere, stop by the Leica store, just kind of play around with it and see how you like it. So currently here in beautiful Palo Alto, the trees in this place is epic. And actually the hilarious thing is that a lot of people don't like Palo Alto. I think it's probably one of the most lovely places to be. This place is super awesome and beautiful. Anyways, so I'm gonna be testing out more of the camera, sharing some of my personal thoughts and stuff like that. But yeah, really nothing wrong with the camera. Huge shout out to Leica. Thanks to Alex for hooking it up. And we'll do some more sharing of the camera soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.